Hi there. Happy October. It is officially all things cozy season, and today we're going to make some apple cookies. This is kind of a unique recipe. I don't see apple cookies very often, but my mom used to make these, and they're just a really nostalgic cookie for me. This is how I peel apples. You might have your own method. It's just kind of the easiest for me because I've already got the knife here. You mess with the separate peeler. And these are really firm little gala apples. Um, actually haven't tasted these apples yet. I should probably taste them and see what tart they are. Because of course, if they're a sweeter apple, reduce the sugar just a little bit. I've used green apples for these before, and I like the flavor of those, but you do have to use a bit more sugar. Hmm. That's actually a really good, like sweet tart, crispy little apple. So now to core apples, I simply cut around the core like this. Again, it's just the easiest, quickest bit as far as I'm concerned. Try not to waste too much of the flesh of the apple doing this. And then let's chop it on up and see how much this yields. So I'm going to chop this apple to pretty small chunks. Actually, I think those are a little bit big even. I haven't made these cookies in a long time, but I think I want them more, just kind of, they can be rough chopped, but just a pretty small dice. I might even go over one more time. Because they're cookies, so you don't want like really big chunks of apples in them. Yeah, I think I might have gone a little bit overboard on the apples. I only need a cup full, but that's okay. I will just snack on the rest later. Yep, that's about a cup. Okay, so I'm gonna set these aside. Got my pecans. I'm gonna chop up a cup of pecans. I'm actually super excited because I've never made these using the pecans before. So I'm excited to see how they turn out. I love pecans. Not a walnut fan. Walnuts tend to tear up my mouth, but pecans I really love. Um, but I've never used them because when I've made these cookies in the past, I wanted them to be nut-free for my daughter Ella, who has a tree nut allergy, which is really just the most ridiculous thing because Ella doesn't eat these cookies anyway. But I always had hope that she would maybe try something other than chocolate. But Ella is now away at college, and many things about that are sad, but I can now freely use tree nuts in my recipes and not worry about whether she's going to eat them or not. Always an upside to things. So I'm just going to chop these pretty fine. This is roughly a cup. All right, so now we've got our apples and our pecans all chopped up. All right, I've got my bowl all cleaned up here. Oh, I need to preheat my oven. That was almost a really rookie mistake. Usually I preheat before I start any of my process of baking. Didn't this time, gonna now. The recipe says 375, so that's what I'm doing. We'll see, we might have to adjust that to 350, but for now I'm trusting myself roughly. I think it's been probably 10 or more years since I've made this recipe. Okay, so the recipe calls for half a cup of butter, 1 1/3 cup of brown sugar, and an egg for this first part. We're going to cream together the butter and the sugar. Instead of using all brown sugar, I'm going to use a combination though. I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar and 3/4 a cup of coconut sugar because I really love the flavor of the coconut sugar, and it's just slightly less sweet than regular sugar, a little bit more complex flavor. So this is a half cup unsalted butter, fresh from the fridge. I'm going to put it in the microwave on, what's the defrost? For, I don't know, it depends on how cold the butter is. You just gotta kind of do it for a few seconds, check the butter, repeat. So, you don't want it to be melty, you just want it to be soft. That was about 20 seconds on defrost in my microwave. Yours may be totally different. It's just one of those things you kind of have to play with. But it is very handy for softening butter quickly. So we're going to do a half cup of coconut sugar plus 1/4 cup or 3/4 cup of coconut sugar. And then I'm just going to do a half cup of the brown sugar. I don't want to make these too super sweet. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know who's eating them at this point. I just, I have apples. I wanted to make the cookies. Probably we'll see whatever friends are around. Maybe they'll be getting some cookies at their door later on. People don't usually mind that. Okay, so I'm going to combine my butter, my sugar. I'm going to use my stand mixer, but you can use just a regular hand mixer as well. Get my paddle. All right, now I'm just gonna turn this on and let it go while I measure the rest of my ingredients. Grab my egg. Okay, so I'm gonna add some golden raisins, and I just want like maybe like 1/3 of a cup. And I'm just gonna rough chop them. So now I've got all of my dry ingredients gathered here to measure. First, I'm just gonna check on this. Turn it off. I'm gonna scrape it down a little bit to make sure everything's mixing evenly. Be really responsible and crack it in a bowl first before I add it to the batter. So now we will prepare our pans, which I probably should have prepared ahead of time, but I did not. I'm going to just Use a couple of cookie sheets with some parchment paper on them. And I'm just going to use a small ice cream scoop to portion these out. Okay. All right. Oh, that's not the right way. There we go. Okay. So I've got these ready to go. My oven is preheated to 375. I'm going to let these bake. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, I didn't put that part out. I'm going to say 12 to 14 minutes, and we'll check back when they're done. Back. And I'm very happy to report no spread, no pre-filling necessary. These look really good. I haven't tried them yet. They were in the oven for approximately 12 minutes. Baking times are always going to be different depending on your particular oven. I did leave them at 375. So here I have a cup and a half of powdered sugar, a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla, a dash of salt, and let's just go ahead and, yeah, I'm just going to eyeball. This is about 2 tablespoons of milk. So I'm going to whip this up, and I'm going to make a little glaze. I probably added about 1/4 cup in total of milk. See how that's coming together so nice? Nice little glaze. And while the cookies are still warm, I am going to top them with this nice little icing. Now that I know I'm pretty happy with the way these baked up, I'm just going to show you the finished product on these, and then I'll bake the rest on my own. But you will get the gist. Take a cookie, a little bit of glaze, like so. My secret weapon for cookies, add a nice little crunch. Just my secret weapon. A lot of people use this turbinado sugar or raw sugar. Totally optional. You don't worry about it, but I like to top it. Kind of makes it look pretty. Gives it a nice little crunch. So I'm just going to continue that with the rest of my cookies. And I allowed these to cool a little bit. So, I mean, they're still warm to the touch, but they're not so hot that the glaze is just going to drizzle down and get lost on them, you know. But it really truly is more like an icing than a glaze, I guess. I love a frosted cookie. I really love a frosted anything, which is why I make so many cakes, because I'm a frosting girl. Once I get these done, try one, let you know how I did. I don't think I'm going to regret not putting the extra liquid in. I mean, just from, you know, the feel of these. Sugar on these. You'll just find this. This is also known as like sugar in the raw. You might see at a grocery store if you can't find turbinado sugar. It's just a really coarse sugar. Okay, let's try one of these cookies. All right. Thank you for watching. Please comment. Let me know if you made these and how they tasted to you. I'll put the recipe in the notes, and I'll be back with more. Thanks. Bye.